Right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We get down to business now. Um, we're going to jump into the concept that we were talking about earlier. Hang on, let me turn this thing down. I still don't know how. Anyway, right. So, the three concepts that we were talking about earlier that you need to maneuver around this new business that we have and to do it within the right jurisdiction. Okay, so the three concepts are: number one, valid cause. Get your head around that, you'll be fine. Number two, charge. What's the charge? Legal charge. Number three, favorite one, crime. We're going to discuss and talk about what crime is. Okay? So number one, we're going to start off with number one, which is valid cause. Being what? Being the reason why anyone would initiate legal proceedings against you. Okay? So the cause is simply the reason, and valid is just that. That the reason for them to take you to court has to be valid. All right? So you cannot take anyone to court or initiate legal proceedings unless you have valid cause, right? Okay? Now, to make it even easier, right, there's a requirement that valid cause has three elements. If one of the three elements is missing, the cause ceases to be valid. It becomes an invalid cause which merits to be struck out of court. Okay, so that's the concept. So each time someone issues a false claim against you, your role, because remember everything is an act and you're playing, the whole world is a stage and everyone's an actor. That's why everything's an act. Okay? So your role will be to instruct the court, which is neutral, remember? The court is neutral, then you have two opposing parties. So the court is neutral, one party alleges something or brings a claim, the other party is obligated to remedy the claim if it's valid. If it's invalid, it requires no remedy, right? So the court is neutral and a claim is made against you. It's up to you to prove that the cause is invalid. Now there are various ways you can do that to show that the cause is invalid, depending on your on the particular circumstances of your case. Okay? But the point is this: lawful and legal. Lawful is lawful. Legal is to do with letter. Okay? So, this is real, this is fiction. This is you, say John Doe, John Smith. This is John Smith, the man. Here we have a Mr. John Smith in all caps, capital maxima, right? But now, since our friends have have realized that people are waking up to this stuff, now sometimes they mix it up. So it might be written in capital maxima, or sometimes media or minor. It's capital minor, capital media, and capital maxima. They mix them all up sometimes just to get the real man to believe that he is the Mr. Fiction, right? Because if we go back and remember why this is so, where does authority come from, right? So we go and look it up. Where did authority come from? Oh. You realize this when you go into the court and the guy with the costume, the guy who wears the cape, the flying courtman, him, is gonna try and get you to put your hand on a book, right? That's where the authority comes from. They claim to get the authority from a god, because the god gave authority to the Pope, and then he gave authority to the crown, okay? And then the crown gives authority to the judges and the police and whoever else. So the ultimate authority is from God, right? Oh, remember as well that the anyone who assumes public office, even monarchs, they take an oath. In this case, the oath was taken to uphold the laws of God. That is it. That is the oath. Okay? Same as so-called public officials. Most of them take an oath to act with integrity and to be fair and to conduct their business transparently for the benefit of the public. That's the oath in most instances. Okay, so lawful is just that, the man, right? Legal is this. This is the law. Then you have something called presumption of law. All right. So this is the law. This is presumption of law. This is real. This is illusion. Legal fiction. The presumption is the illusion, right? Presumption of law goes together with color of law. So this is law, this is color of law. It looks like law, but it's not, because it's a fiction. It's an image of the law, it's a presumption, right? And the people who presume and act under color of law also presume to have a what they call color of right or color of title to do what they do. This has title, this has color of title. So the man, the living man, has the title. Legal fiction is just the presumptions, okay? So that's it. We don't give legal advice, okay? All we say is this: let he who wishes to be deceived. All right? That's your legal industry motto, or one of their sayings. Same as, oh, this is critical as well. This is critical. We talk about this all the time. No truth or fact shall be heard in a court of law. Okay? So when you go into these courts of law, right, there's no truth or fact to be discussed there. So you need to organize yourself and understand what it is you're going to be saying in these venues, because they can't hear truth or fact. Why? Because truth and facts belong to the living man. That's it. Okay? This is corporations. They're dead. They can't listen to anything at all. No, they can't listen to this. Then two different levels, if you will. It's called inequality of status in law, because one is higher than the other one. They cannot interact. They're different species. Okay? And how is that? How is that possible? Why? Because the ultimate authority comes from God, right? So God created man in God's image. Okay? And we know the story. that the God, no, it's not the God who created this plane that we live in, the God who created this plane that we live in, and this globe that we live in a globe, right? So when God created this plane, He created man, and that includes a woman. And after man fucked around for a while, a few decades, centuries, whatever, millennia, he got bored, and he said, let me create something else. Man created government. All right? So, God is there, ultimate authority. The ultimate authority is the divine creator of all things. That's the ultimate authority. Then you have the gods underneath that. And one of them created this plane, right? So God up here. So man cannot interact with God at that level where he's arguing with God and to discuss anything. God will tell man what to do and man will do it. Right? Inequality of status in law. I created you. God will tell man that. Then man created government. Alright? That's the inequality. So that's the man and that's the government here. You see, inequality of law. In law. So the corporation cannot sue the man. He's above. The man is above the corporation. That's why consent is required. Treaty of International Law. Lex Magatoria. The law of the merchants. Prohibits corporations from dealing with man. You see, your consent is required. That's it. That is why your signature is always required. Why? Because your signature connotes consent. Denotes consent. Signifies consent. Expresses consent. Okay? However, under presumption of law, consent is not expressed, is implied. It's by implication. It's by presumptions. They make presumptions all the time. If you don't rebut the presumption, it stands. That's the game. No truth or facts, nothing. All you're required to do is to rebut false presumptions. That's all. Alright? So we go back to number one, valid cause. Otherwise I'll carry on with this shit. Right, valid cause. 3 elements required. Number one, whoever's bringing the claim has to allege violation of a legal right. Or some right. Everything's legal now, so there has to be an allegation of a legal right. Number one. Okay? Number two, there has to be corpus delicti, which is the injured party. Right? 2 elements. 1, allegation or violation of a legal right. 2, an injured party. And critically, number 3, redress ability by the court or the venue that the claimant chooses to bring the claim. Okay? That's straightforward. That's valid cause. As long as those 3 elements are satisfied, the cause is valid. If a single element is missing, that's an invalid cause. So you bring attention of the court to that and inform them that the claimant's claim is invalid. Why? Because one of the elements is missing, and you specify which element is missing and inform them that for that reason the court, which is neutral, has no recourse but to strike out the claim. Okay? For having no merit. That's it. Valid cause. Alright? I hope that's straightforward. I don't know what else I can say about valid cause. Except that, the best example is, for instance, if I have an allegation of assault and I file my claim in traffic court, for instance, and you are the respondent or defendant, then the best course or recourse or the best course of action would be not to get engaged in discussing whether you assaulted this guy or not, and the rest of it. That's truth and facts. The best course of action would be to file a motion to strike off the claim. You see, because the jurisdiction is not the proper jurisdiction. All right, and that is it. You don't need to explain too much and go into details. They'll know what you're talking about. All right. So there you go. That's number one. We're done with number one. We're gonna twist a doodle, burn half a tree, and then come back and do the second one, which should be charge. So we're gonna discuss what charge is. Okay. Remember, everything in the new order is commercial. Everything's about commerce. So it's the language. And legal is the word. So look at the language. And for people who know what time it is, okay? Because it's all about chronos, by the way. It's all about time, right? 10:10. Sorry, I'm deviating for a minute, but anyway, anyone who's a newbie and doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know about chronos, go and look at Google any watch ads and see what time it is. Okay. So people who know what this is, they know it's all about commerce, and it's all about corporations, and it's all about trusts and corporations. Okay. So we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll deal with spelling and what a charge is. And yeah, it's all about spelling and chronos. Chronos simply means whoever owns your time owns you. So if you spend your time on somebody else's account, the energy vampirism, right? That's the whole point of the discussion. That if you spend your time using your energy to satisfy somebody else and they give nothing in return, that is energy vampirism. Okay? It happens publicly and privately. It's just a thing prevalent right now. There are people who are producing and other people who are just consuming. And they're not chipping in, as it were. Okay? They don't chip in. They don't put 5 on it. But they have the handout, and they want something in return for nothing. All right. So those ones, the ones where you spend your time working, and they benefit. That's energy vampirism. Okay. So we'll take a short break and come back, and we'll get down to discussing what a charge is. Thank you.